Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to another thrilling episode of Living World of Darkness, Rage Across New York. We will set this scene hours after the previous, wherein one of the visiting elders fell into a state of Hirano in the midst of offering a challenge. Maeve left with the elder, situated her, stayed with her, and only after she'd been asleep for probably a good hour or two, decided to steal away just briefly, just long enough to harass her favorite Shadow Lord because, well, she wants answers, and Lucas is good at playing around, and he probably even knows the answers, but he did get scolded last time he offered them out, and, well, Garrett just seems like the best solution to her problem. So she'll slip out into the Umbra, figuring, well, Garrett's probably around on patrol, and hunt the paths until she manages to find him.
And find him she will. Garrett will be out there on the Bon as usual, walking along at a very deliberate pace, constantly checking his surroundings, never being caught off guard.
And as such, he'll see her wandering, and then very promptly see her turn his way and pick up a jog to catch up. His favorite!
Garrett will actually give a slight grin, but then check around to make sure Lucas isn't somewhere.
While it's not unheard of for Lucas to go and play the Heidi game, to all appearance, especially having seen her come from this sort of distance, Lucas is nowhere in sight. Anomalous.
Once Maeve gets a little closer, Garrett will say, getting a little bit of deja vu. But in this case, you are coming calling to me.
Weird how those things come around, right? And she'll finally trot the rest of the way up and come to rest beside him, and presuming he's still walking, she'll just walk along with him. So, like you said, there's a time we talked before, and you decided to lay some truth on me. And I need some truth laid on me.
If I have truth to offer.
All right. I imagine the Guardians know. I didn't want to ask Lucas because he already got in trouble for telling me something and me acting on it. This time, I don't necessarily want to act, but I want to know what happened. Cinna told us today about her first change.
Oh, really?
She did. She told us that she went to visit the Fianna, and I had given her their number, and I had asked her, begged her to help them with their work. And it's only today that I found out that one of them attacked her.
So what is it you want to know?
Was he a spiral? Was he tainted? Was there something wrong with him?
Maeve, there's a lot of stuff I don't tell you because of your past, from what I've known of you. So if I tell you anything, I need to know it's in confidence.
She kind of quirks a brow over a mention of her past, as it were, but she'll nod. I will not share, but I mean, either way, it's my fault. Either way, I did it. But
What?
knowing, I asked her to go there. I went and talked to them myself first. And then I asked her to go in to talk to them and to help them with what they were doing. So either way, it's my fault she was there. If I hadn't asked her, she wouldn't have gone, and it wouldn't have happened, and she wouldn't have changed.
That's quite a lot of guilt you're taking on yourself.
There's a lot of potential reasons that Luna put someone through their first change. And one of the reasons that I think a lot of people go through them is to save them, because Luna has bigger plans for them and doesn't want them gone.
It would have happened sooner or later.
You say that, but we can't know that. Maybe nothing would have triggered it. Maybe she would have just stayed kin and been happy. but now she's miserable, and if I'd never sent her there, it wouldn't have happened. So whether he was tainted and that is why he did it, or whether they are just normal and for some reason saw fit to attack a kinfolk, even though from what I know of my own people, that's not what we do. That's not how we behave. I need to
You
know one way or the other.
you were where she was taken, right?
What?
Well, maybe not taken, but she needed a rescue, right?
Yes, she told me who went, and I figured you must talk to Mikhail.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured you would know. I don't
Well,
think Mikhail would answer me.
no, he wouldn't. And
If you really want, I can ask Kachina, and she'll put on a sly look. But I would rather hear the answer from you, and then if I have to, I'll ask Kachina too and use his answer as an excuse to know. But
at the mention of Kachina's name and you going to talk to him, Garrett gets a very sour look on his face.
oh, she looks like she knows exactly that that was what was going to happen. You know Kachina's dumb enough to tell me, right?
I know. So here's what I'm going to say. I don't know what they were. Something happened to them, though. My own pet theory is that it happened to them after they had arrived, because otherwise, you and young Lucas may have suffered a terrible fate.
Well, from what she said, now they were standoffish and they did act weird. And like I said before, when I gave them my name, my whole name, my last name, they didn't react to it at all. And I thought that was strange. I didn't think of it till much afterwards, but it was very strange that they didn't seem either to notice or to recognize my name, especially if they were sent here by my uncle.
I
So
thought of
perhaps something was wrong before, and she told me that she stood up to them and argued with them. We did not. We made a point of dropping things when they began to seem angry or seem annoyed. But she did not. She stood up to him, she fought with him, she yelled back and forth with him, and then he changed and attacked her. So it may just be behavior.
I wish you'd have told me this before, because by all accounts, it sounded like they were amiable to you.
I didn't really recognize the difference until today. They were, I mean, they weren't mean, but they were rigid almost. I mean, they encouraged us not to be formal, not to waste time with being formal, really, now that I think about it. But they told us to just fucking relax and talk to them. And maybe not so much Lucas. Well, no, I could tell he was too. We were a little on edge because they were kind of stilted. Like, they said to relax, but at the same time, they weren't exactly friendly and amiable and just chatting with us like we were friends. They just were blunt.
Yeah. And I just don't understand why they wouldn't take you then and there. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know what point there was to them being undercover. But
I
again,
don't.
it's just a
either.
pet theory of mine.
It could have. I mean,
I
we
also don't
told
see
them.
how they could have gotten past Mother Larissa undetected.
That's true. I mean, like I said, they didn't recognize my name, and at the time they responded really sharply to hearing something about a white howler. So maybe they were, maybe they weren't. Maybe it was an enemy, or maybe it was something that they wanted to get their hands on. I don't know.
Mm. The fact that they didn't blink at your name is concerning.
Like I said, it didn't seem like a very big deal at first. Maybe they were just busy, maybe they were just focused, but they didn't react at all. We even
So,
paused and looked expectantly at her, and she didn't do anything.
so tell me, what exactly do you want to know? I told you that something happened to them.
Something happened.
We don't know.
Did they look weird? Did they? Was there anything besides a Fianna and Krynos?
Mikhail afterwards went and accomplished a mission. And he claims he saw something huge and fought it and killed it. And the other two Fianna were there as well.
What was this thing? What were they?
I don't know, but something had happened with the Fianna. He said they tried doing something to it and it didn't seem to work. To help.
They tried to help him?
They tried to help the other two, yes. There was the one with Cinna, and then there was the other two.
And the other two were trying to help us or trying to help the monster?
OOC, I'm trying to piece together some stuff from Guardian chat, what I remember.
Go ahead. Do your scrolling.
Yeah.
I'll do some elevator music.
Because that's the only way Garrett knows is via Guardian chat. What did he say? Okay, yeah, it was. Well, tell me this, Maeve. How did you know about Kachina? Knowing.
Well, I told you. Senna told us earlier today about what happened. She was in and out, but she remembers Kachina, she remembers Mikhail, she remembers Xavier showing up.
On the rescue mission. I gotcha.
Yes.
Well, yeah, they went to some warehouse or something, and they found signs of a struggle. There was some security guards or something, and then the two Fianna were lying on the floor.
She knits her brow a little.
They tried to heal the Fianna, but it didn't work, like I said. And then they did cleansing upon them to get rid of some kind of taint, I guess. And then something big showed up and they fought it and killed it.
Did they retrieve the bodies?
I don't know.
We probably should retrieve as many as we can. And I should probably talk to Chase's about contacting my uncle. Because if they were here rightly, he needs to know that they died. And if they were here wrongly, he needs to know that people are doing things in his name.
That is a very smart thing to do, Maeve.
She kind of wrinkles her nose. I just really hope something was wrong with them. Not because I want bad things to happen, but I really hope that this happened because something was wrong with them, not because...
No, that's for sure. Something indeed was wrong.
I wish I had paid closer attention while I was there.
Consider it a lesson to both you and Lucas.
I will not be meeting anyone on my own again until I'm able to sense the worm.
The lesson I would take from it, Maeve, is you don't do anything lightly. You're impulsive. You tend to act first before thinking all the way through.
Well, I thought I'd thought it through, but I guess not.
Well, you were grieving. It's impossible for you to have thought it all the way through.
Yeah.
Today, you and Lucas did some real good work. Lucas figured something out. He showed
I,
you, and you took
yeah.
charge.
Well, I saw it, but he knew the word for it. And if he hadn't told me, I couldn't have told Olaf. So, yeah. Wonder Team. Nah.
That was good work.
I keep getting stuck because I want people to approve. I want them to be proud of us. I want to accomplish something, but every time we do, even if what we come back with is good, but we're still cubs and we're still going to get punished for doing things on our own, even if it's things that we know damn well we never would have been allowed to do in the first place if we passed it on. It's just infuriating to know that something needs to be done and that if you bring it to someone's attention, they're still not going to do anything about it and they're not going to let you do anything about it. But it needs to happen.
Indeed, it is. Unfortunately, when you were telling the story, there was a Philodox in the room. And he gives a smile.
I told Katori.
And that was your second mistake.
Well,
he would have found out eventually because Olaf would have told him, I understand.
Well, that and I don't want to be dishonest to Katori.
Fair enough.
And while he approves of our caution, he approves of how we took care of each other, he approves of what we accomplished, he's still disappointed in us for doing what we did and being reckless. So,
Maeve, I'm upset with you and Lucas because I truly don't think you think things through. I truly believe you don't look forward to the ramifications, the possible dangers. Right now, you two think you're invincible.
I try to be careful. I don't want to die. I just also don't want to spend all of my time sitting and thinking about it and never get anything done. The
I
longer these
know.
things are untended, the worse they get.
I have nothing but praise for you and Lucas's actions. Well, no, I have a lot of criticisms, but I just want you to see this face, and he gives a really hard scowl in the back of your mind anytime you think about doing anything. Consider me the little angel on your shoulder. And maybe sometimes the little devil.
I think you'd look better with a pitchfork than a halo.
Yeah, I don't like hats.
Well, I guess beyond that, got any advice on how to pull someone out of Hirano? Whatever that is?
No, I've never dealt with it.
Shit.
And I know somehow I've gotten this reputation that I'm some kind of wordsmith that can pull people out of depression. That's not what I do.
You talk sense.
Olaf wanted me to talk to Cinna to try and pull her out of her funk, and I couldn't. That's not what I do.
Well, at least in Cinna's case, we got her to talk some today, and what's happening is she's clinging to her past. She knows she's going to have to put it down and move forward, but for a couple days, she just wants to grieve and she wants to cling to it. And she wants to hold to it.
She's going to have to talk to Morning Kill sometime. That's
I
the
know.
only way she's going to get closure.
I know, but I'm letting her set the pace right now. Sooner or later, she's going to have to. They're going to have to meet up. They're going to have to cry on each other. There's going to be snot everywhere, but that's how it's going to have to be before she can actually keep moving. But at least she knows that now. At least I know that she knows what she's doing and she's not just lost in it.
Has she started making decisions?
A little. She We met Honors the Lost today, and he told us stories, and Lucas asked for one, and she asked not to hear it or asked to leave, and I told her that she could stay and we could not hear that story. And if she wanted a different one, maybe should suggest one, and she did.
Good.
And when time came around that Lucas and Talia were running around and Honors the Lost was lapping them a million times, I got to talking to her, and she said that all she can think of to do to keep her mind distracted is to work. So she went today and spent time with the keepers,
Good.
picked up a shovel, something to just keep her busy.
Because when I talked to her, she was unwilling to make any kind of decision. She, let me put it this way, I'm willing to be someone that you can lean on, but I refuse to be crushed by the weight of your responsibility because you refuse to take it. She was sad. I get that. But when I ask you, do you want to do something? And she says, oh, if it pleases you, Raya, I have no patience for that.
Maeve rolls her eyes on that one. Yeah, the Raya thing was driving everyone crazy.
It's not the Raya thing. It's waiting to be told what to do.
Yeah.
So if she's making decisions, then good. I'm only good when people fuck up. I can call you out. I can tear you down so you can build yourself back up. That's what I do. Senna had done nothing wrong until she refused to make decisions for herself. So just remind her of that if she ever slips into that nasty little habit of dumping responsibility on people.
I think that as long as she keeps climbing upwards, I'll just keep pushing her along. But I'll keep it in mind.
Good. And Garrett changes his posture for a second, almost as if he's about to change the subject. And
He
how
gets
about you? Go ahead.
Oh, he gets an expectant glance.
And how about you, Maeve? How are you doing?
Oh, dying of grief and guilt, but otherwise pretty good.
A lot's happened since we last had one of these heart-to-hearts.
Yeah. Yeah, it has.
I know Lucas's first change was a bit of a shock.
Yeah.
And I can fathom what the circumstances were when it happened.
She'll kind of quirk her brow. She's trying to be playful. She's not succeeding very well, but she's making the attempt.
Garrett has a very sly smile on his face. So, I know that his change was rough on you in a way similar to Senna's. Not as heavy, not as deep, but still there.
We may not have had the time that Cinna had, but I think Chase has put it very well. When I started sobbing uncontrollably on him, and he said that the Fiona are always the first to fall in love and the last to let it go.
That's a good one. I'm going to remember that one.
Yeah.
And he looks up to the sky as if like compartmentalizing it and putting it in some kind of bank.
I think he's right.
Here's my theory. And it's a bullshit one, completely bullshit. And he's waving his hands around like you shouldn't even pay attention to it. I think you and Lucas do indeed have a bond. I just think that it got confused for romance.
I'm trying to convince myself of that. It's kind of working. It helps that he hasn't changed how he acts, how we do our things together. I think if things had suddenly stopped, I wouldn't have been able to take it.
Yeah, it's my duty as a ragabash to question things, and other people, they should be doing it too. And sometimes you have to question your feelings. I don't doubt their veracity. I just doubt where they're rooted in. So it's pretty obvious that you and Lucas are going to pack up to me.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
I told him as much. So I don't know if you're still somewhat grieving for what you lost there when he changed. But I wouldn't be sad. Instead, I'd be happy for what you gained.
I might want to, but so many other things have happened that I don't have time to.
Then take the time to reflect. You learned how to meditate, to do a little bit of a recharge when you got stuck in the Umbra. You don't always have to meditate to recharge that spiritual energy. You can just do it just to think. As for the other stuff that's happened, and he gets a grimace on his face, that hit me too.
And she will presumably out of nowhere just kind of go, I can't believe Leah's such a bitch. I just can't.
Well,
I can't fathom how she's related to Callie.
you took that in a direction I wasn't expecting.
Look, Callie was really good to me. She actually only really met me once. We had trained together, and I told her how I was having troubles with Travis, and she invited me into her home, into her room. She bought furniture for me to stay there. She gave me everything I needed. Not that anyone else wouldn't have, but she gave me more than just what I could think to ask for. She gave me a safe place to stay. And she didn't snub Lucas either. She told him to go the fuck through the front door when he came to the window, of course, but she didn't. I mean, she just accepted me and everything that came with me. And you know what? Just before all this happened, she bought us bunk beds so we'd have more room. She called dibs on the bottom bunk, even. She called me her sister. And I've seen Leah maybe twice before tonight. And I didn't talk to her much the first time. I didn't know her. And the second time she came over with Callie after Lucas changed. I mean, you were there for that. And she was just so mean to Callie. And I've heard that Callie left her in the lurch, whatever. But they're still sisters. That doesn't
And
mean
she's
that you
grieving.
just act like an unfathomable bitch to her for the rest of your life. That she acted like Callie was a burden.
Listen, she leaves a bit of a bad taste in my mouth too, okay?
And just
But
now, I mean, I'd only met
Maeve,
the elder
Maeve,
a little
God
bit.
damn it, Maeve. I just brought up something and said that it hit me too. And the first thought in your head is how mean her sister is. You
I don't.
need to get that in check. If that's your way of coping, okay, but hatred is not a good way to cope.
And by the time she looks up, she's kind of teary eyed and just kind of goes, I just didn't want to think about it.
She's grieving too. And then you saw that business with her grandmother coming in. She's getting it from all sides, too. Take it, I don't know, as an opportunity to connect with her somehow,
I mean, you heard what she said about how she needed to get her away from the things that were stressing her. Do you think it even occurs to her that she's the reason that she's so upset? Not that she's done something wrong, but that she's just the center of it.
it's possible that she's a reminder to her grandmother that she's the last remaining piece of her family. Leah is unfairly a reminder of everything she's lost. And that's not Leah's fault.
No. Sorry, I just can't find anything else to be angry about, really, except me.
There is one case where hatred is very, very valid, an outlet. And that's the enemy.
And she'll rub at her face some, work on getting her composure back. I mean, I know life's not fair, but this sucks.
It does. She was the only Garu I've ever known to give me a chance. To give me the chance to be something better. And I'm doing what I can to make sure it wasn't in vain.
You are better.
I'm trying
I mean,
to be.
how many people would laugh at me for coming to you for advice and for information?
Well, the stereotype is lords know things, so they wouldn't think too much of it.
Yeah, but how often are they supposed to tell things? And how often are we supposed to trust what they tell us, anyways?
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm bad at this, apparently.
You're still young. So much potential. And you've already flashed so much of it. You're Fianna, full of passion. It'll get the best of you. Just be sure to question it every once in a while.
I really do need to keep you on my shoulder. Just so you can do a disapproving head shake periodically.
All you got to do is remember my face. And he'll scowl again.
Uh, Garrett, you're kind of the best.
No, I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah, because I've even made Olaf lose his temper with me. But even when Travis and I were screaming at each other, you haven't lost your temper.
I've yelled at you. You may not remember, but I've yelled at you.
Well, I deserved it.
Yes,
You
you
don't.
did.
You don't go over the top. You don't just keep going to make me feel like shit. You just yell over me and you say what I need to hear.
Garrett's scratching his head and looking down at the ground. You can P&E him if you want.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I know everything about you. 5.
He's visibly uncomfortable with what you just told him.
And just because he's already off center, she's totally going to lunge in for a very brief hug, like just a squish around the middle before letting him go. Like, look, I know I'm not supposed to say this to boys because it makes them awkward, but you're very kind to hear it. You don't have to like it, but it's true.
You cut out right when you said that. I'm sorry.
Oh, damn it.
What'd you
She
say?
said, I know you don't want to hear it, but, or I know I'm not supposed to say this to boys because it makes them uncomfortable, but you're very kind. You don't have to like it, but it's true.
I'm a truth teller, Maeve. In your case, the truth happens to be more kind than not.
You know, I've heard the truth from a couple people, and they don't put it nearly as black and white as you do.
Was there anything else you needed?
Mm. No, but I feel the need to remind you that what I said before still goes. Especially when it comes to Lucas and I finally being adults and finally being able to pack up.
Lucas mentioned that.
I said it before and I meant it.
I know you did.
You know you don't get to make excuses, right? You have to tell me no for a good reason if you're going to try to do it.
Oh, I have my reasons. But as it stands right now with just you and Lucas, I'm not right for it.
Who says you're the only one we're going for?
Well, you're going to have to show me.
And she'll kind of tilt her gaze skyward, you know, perfect picture of innocence, and be like, well, why do you think we like that you pushed Olaf towards alpha behavior so hard? And then look at
If you
him.
haven't noticed, Maeve, he is in a pack.
Yeah, but I bet you money he won't turn over Katori. He respects him too much. And Katori wouldn't be mad because Olaf would be achieving something, and he's proud of people in his care who achieve higher things. So he can't be alpha in that pack, can he?
The Olaf that I know right now isn't there yet.
Well, no, but neither are we.
He might be on his way to doing that. But until he does it, I don't know.
We'll wait. We've got time too. There are things we have to do before we can have our rite of passage, and now that there are 3 more cubs, don't be surprised if we wait and do it together.
Well, I'm pretty
It
sure I'll
gives him
still be
plenty of
around.
time.
I doubt
Oh yeah,
I'll be
you
recruited.
will. You better be.
I'm not going to be recruited by anyone else, Maeve. You and Lucas are the only 2 chuckle fucks dumb enough to recruit me.
Good. That means we're the only ones smart enough to do it too.
I need to finish my patrol, Maeve.
Okay. Okay, make your segue back to that. I'll go be good. But don't think we're going to forget.
I know you won't. You'll never forget an opportunity to make my life miserable.
You're not miserable. You're just in denial because you wouldn't be a big tough man if you admitted you liked hugs.
He's walking away now and he just looks up and he goes, miserable.
So miserable. And she'll laugh about it and head back towards serious business time because, well, yeah, she's going to be busy as fuck between an elder in Hirano and 3 new cubs to help give tips and tricks. And with that, we will close our scene. Thank you, player, for playing. Thank you, imaginary watchers, for watching. And we will see you next time on Living World of Darkness, Rage Across New York.